Deputy Murphy.
Clearly, Michael, you were tuned in to the last discussion we had in regards this with the Department of Transport. So, Mr. Walsh, I'll come to you, and maybe Mr. Rowland will be better informed after this. The medical was extended for the criteria in the NDLS for professional drivers to the age of 75. Is that correct, Mr. Rowland?
Medical, yeah, for
requirement
drivers,
for a
all
medical
drivers.
Is now 75.
For all drivers.
And who advises on that? Because contrary, obviously, to what Professor O'Neill would say, we now have a situation where you can't drive a school bus under a bus air tender at 70 because of Professor O'Neill's advice, but somebody told you that it was okay to extend to 75, the medical.
I can only go on the
Well, we can only go on the number of deaths on the road. That's why you're here, to give us the answers as to why that's happening. We have a situation where, because we can't get bus drivers under the bus air tender, we are putting upwards, I have a text today, 110 pupils from Kilmore to Wexford. We'll have at least 60 extra cars on the road for the want of 2 bus drivers, Mr. Rowland. So as you're in the Road Safety Authority, do you not have an opinion on that? Miss O'Connor has told us the idea was that we would modal, offer a modal shift. We can't because of this rubbish that goes on and contradiction in terms. So can you tell me how that contradiction has arisen that is not on medical grounds, and the medical evidence is that over 70s are far more pertinent, competent drivers?
The over 70s driving their own cars, driving a school bus.
We're not talking about cars.
Well,
medical pertains to driving the bus, Mr. Rowland. Well, hold on now, Chair. Don't run down the clock on me with rubbish. I've put the question. We're talking about school buses. We're not talking about cars.
Concise answer for you. Mr. Rowland, please.
Yeah, the advice by Professor O'Neill is that there is a different task between driving a car and driving a bus.
Did you not understand the question? The question is not what Professor O'Neill advised. It's why do we have a medical at 75? Who advised that? Who advised that?
My understanding is that Professor O'Neill from the National Office of Traffic Medicine would have advocated for that.
We can, Deputy Murphy, that is advice that RSA were given. We can and we will commit to getting a second and third opinion in terms of clinical medical advice.
And why haven't you committed to that already? Why have you appeared here to be told that? Have you not recognised that contradiction up to now, Mr. Wade?
Deputy Murphy, you've raised it, and I will take it away, because this is
Mr. Wade, I've raised it for 10 years. And it's only in the last 3 years you've increased the medical to 75, since COVID.
And Deputy Murphy, I have this day, in this committee, in this room, I'm committing to seeking other second opinions and third opinions, because I am not.
Do you believe it's a contradiction? Do you believe it's a contradiction?
Deputy Murphy, I am not a clinician. I am, and there isn't a clinician in Road Safety Authority.
Common sense would dictate that there's something. Apart from the fact it's Bus Éireann's policy, which is a Department of Transport issue.
Bus Éireann sits around the partnership board table.
You can fudge away, Mr. Wade. The reality here is we could have 2 bus drivers taking 110 children to school, or we can have 100 cars on the road. Now, your objective should be the 2 bus drivers. It's not up to me to come up with the solution. You're being paid the big salary as Chief Executive of the RSA to reduce road deaths. And primary to that is to remove a modal shift, as Miss O'Connor put it, from the perspective of road safety, and particularly when it comes to our children. So
I've committed, Deputy Murphy.
Your review will take far too long. This is a subject that's on the cards for 10 years, not today. Just because it's your first time here in 5 years. I mean, I've written to you several times, but I've never gotten a response, email-wise.
I'm sorry. So first of all, Chair and Deputy Murphy, I've committed to that action. On the latter point you make, Deputy, you have written to the RSA in 35 occasions, and 7 of those in 2024, and the RSA has responded.
They're different matters. I said you.
And I'm happy happy to share my contact details with you, Deputy, and I have committed to that action
Did
in
I
terms
have
of
the
the bus driver.
incorrect details? How many emails did you receive from me, Mr. Wade, yourself?
To my email address,
Yeah.
none.
None.
I've checked,
Well,
none.
that's fine.
But I
I'll
am
forward
happy,
them to you again.
I'm very happy, Deputy, to share my details with you.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I have the details, and I certainly haven't received a response, but we'll check that. That could be a simple IT.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Just,
The other thing is, sorry, Mr. Rowland.
just a point of clarification, Deputy. All professional drivers have to do a medical every 5 years.
But it's extended to 75. It has been, I am fully aware of that. What I am telling you is that it's been extended out to the age of 75 from 70, from a compulsory perspective.
For all licence holders, that's for a Category B licence holder. If you're a passenger car driver, you need to have a medical cert from the age of 75 and above, whether it's if you're driving a vehicle of any sort.
We're talking about the age of 70 here now.
Well, the age of 70 is where you get a free licence. There is a requirement for a Category B licence to have a medical cert above the age of 75. I think the issue we've been discussing here is maybe related to commercial vehicles and vehicles.
Commercial vehicles over 70. Commercial vehicles over 70 would require medicals over 70 annually. It is now extended annually from 75 to 76 to 77. That's the point I'm making.
No, it's not.
Well, that's what the legislation says. It's increased to 75.
75 for a B category licence.
Well, I would just submit that in writing, please, so as we can check the legislation again.
Okay.
And the other question I have with regards to road safety is the IRHA, Ms O'Connor, the Irish Road Haulage Association, the only licensed representative organisation for HGVs in the country. How many times have you met them as stakeholders?
I participate in the road haulage meetings when the topics relate to my directorate. I believe actually that my colleague was due to meet them maybe about 10 days ago.
No, how many times have you met the Irish Road Haulage Association for engagement on your advertisements, your programmes, your marketing, whatever?
I haven't specifically met them.
You've never met them. The only representative organisation in the country, you've never met them to engage with how articulated drivers and HGV operators operate on our roads here in Ireland.
Deputy
And you're putting the campaigns together, is that what you said?
That's correct.
Right.
We actually, in terms of driving for work, we haven't been in a position to create a new advert.
But this
in
is
the
not
last
driving
12
for
months.
work, this is road safety. Road safety.
Absolutely, but specifically pertaining to people who are driving for work. We are planning a new campaign this year in terms of radio, and we'd like to engage, and I think there's further plans for next year in terms of specifically to do a driver for work. And actually we have...
How long are you in the role, Ms O'Connor?
18 months.
18 months, okay. Mr Wade, how many times have you met the Irish Road Haulage Association?
So I met them in the first year of my role, and that was a engagement in regard to developing the government's road safety strategy.
And who was the president at the time?
Eugene.
Mr Drennan, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Drennan, and I subsequently met them, and that's my colleague Mr. Walsh just met them, but I think it was maybe a year ago. But it's important.
So how long
Let me answer the question.
How long are you in your role? I'm
may-
asking the questions, Mr. Wade.
May
How
I
long are
answer
you in
the
your
question? Yeah.
Sorry.
The question I asked was
Sorry,
how many times?
No, hold on a second. Just answer briefly. I have to allow the witness to start.
But I asked the question.
Answer briefly. She asked the question.
How many times?
I've
Sorry,
also
no,
met
I'll chair this.
members.
You answer.
I've also met members of the IRHA. I've met them for different reasons. I've met them in terms of technology and in commercial vehicles and in a positive way. I've met them on a number of occasions for example, members who are providing the CVRT service. Most recently, I attended a company that is opened a new test centre.
Sorry.
Sorry
now. They're not stakeholders. That's a commercial activity. That wouldn't be a representative of the IRHA. Somebody
Sorry.
opening a CVRT centre.
Deputy Murphy, they are stakeholders in road safety, and that's why I met them.
I asked about the IRHA, who are stakeholders.
And I answered that question.
No, I
believe,
asked,
Deputy.
how many times have you met,
At least twice.
and how long are you in the role, Mr. Wade?
3.5 years.
Okay, because your predecessor had a quarterly meeting for a year.
We do, as an organisation,
No, the CEO, your predecessor. So,
as an
and
Deputy Murphy, as an organisation, we meet the IRHA on
there is only
a
one
quarterly basis.
representative. There is only one representative organisation, Mr. Wade. There's only one. So it is really, really important.
And it's really important to confirm on public record RSA meet the IRHA on a quarterly basis minimum. And there's ongoing engagement outside of those quarterly meetings.
I should hope so.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be back in, Chair.